Welcome to Intensity Broadcasting. The Dev Sports Cars SCSRA Series is back. In this season, the drivers of the series will be wheeling next-gen cars instead of Xfinity cars that they have been running for the last 4 seasons. The world's best sim racers will be taking on tonight the iconic 2.5-mile oval at Daytona International Speedway. And I'll tell you what, anything can happen. The field is stacked with talent, including defending Xfinity, now next-gen series champion, Jeffrey Belk. Jeffrey Belk will be searching for his second SCSRA championship this season. He'll be facing stiff competition from the likes of Brian Nudi, Devin Butchino, and Eddie Morris, as well as many other talented drivers that make up this SCSRA next-gen series field. Tonight's races are sure to be action-packed, with plenty of close racing and high-speed action. So strap in and get ready for tonight's Devs Duels at Daytona. Right now, qualifying underway here at Daytona International Speedway. Drivers will get 2 laps to try to set their best possible lap time, and that will determine where they will start on the grid for our duels. The top 2 qualifiers here in this qualifying session will automatically be locked in for next week's Devtona 500. So you definitely want to try to qualify in the top 2. It's going to mean a lot tonight, so we'll see who can get there to the top of the board. Want to thank our series sponsor, Dev Sports Cards, for all their support of the series. Once again, Dev Sports Cards stepping up as the title sponsor of SCSRA's Wednesday night series. Dev Sports Cards was established in 2013 by SCSRA driver and Neon Racing team owner Devin Butchino. Dev Sports Cards specializes in all your sports cards and gaming cards needs, from football, baseball, and basketball cards to Pokemon. Dev Sports Cards sells it all. On their eBay store, you can find a wide variety of items from high-end sports cards to their weekly 99-cent starting bid 7-day auction. Don't have time to sell your own cards? Reach out to Devin and ask about his consignment services. Simply package them up, ship them out, and Devin will get them listed, sold, and then you get paid. Dev Sports Cards can be found on eBay with 4,000 plus positive feedback, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Dev Sports Cards is a proud sponsor of the SCSRA series and Intensity Broadcasting. So thank you so much again to Devin Butchino and Dev Sports Cards for stepping up again and sponsoring this next-gen series. And again, thank you to Devin Butchino for all that he has done for this league. He's done a phenomenal job recruiting many drivers into the series. It's been really fun to watch the series grow. We got a lot of rookies competing tonight. So shout out to Devin and all the SCSR admins for all they have done setting up this season. We got Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence on the top of the board here in qualifying. 49.62 is the time for Cheeseburger. His teammate in second place, David Hart, he ran a 49.63. That is a 100th off of Cheeseburger. And then third, Jeffrey Belk ran a 49.64, putting Belk 100th off of, or 200ths off of Cheeseburger. So right now, 1, 2, 3 is DBC Racing here in qualifying. They're looking like the cars to beat speed-wise tonight. We'll see if anybody else can jump up there to the top of the board. SCSRA has a new partner this series for Wednesday nights. We're excited to tell you about Blue Ridge Auto Group Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And again, they have become a partner with SCSRA for the Season 4 Next Gen Series. The team at Blue Ridge Auto Group Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is immensely proud to be an active member of the thriving Abingdon, Virginia community. They are always looking for new ways to get involved with and give back to their local patrons. At Blue Ridge Auto Group Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they strive to provide their customers with the best experience possible. From the exceptional deals they offer on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram inventory, as well as the great selection of used trucks, SUVs, and even luxury cars, their friendly staff of sales professionals are always readily available to assist you in comparing vehicles, exploring your financing options, and taking advantage of great savings. Whether you visit their dealership location or just browse online, they're always happy to have you. Not sure if Blue Ridge Auto Group Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the right fit for your automotive needs? Get to know them. Give them a call at 276-254-8289. Contact them online at blueridgecdjr.com. Link is in the description. Or visit them at their physical location at 19711 Old Jonesboro Road, Abingdon, Virginia 24211 to ask questions or get a quote. They look forward to working with you. So thank you so much again to Blue Ridge Auto Group for stepping up and sponsoring the SCSRA Next Gen Series. If you are in the Abingdon, Virginia area, kind of near that Virginia-Tennessee border, then definitely check them out if you are in the market for a phenomenal Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. Devin Buchno has gotten to the top of the board. 49.60 is the time for the 68 machine. That will put him 200ths ahead over second place Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence and 300ths ahead of third place David Hartney. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in to watch tonight. Make sure to share that stream on whatever platform you are watching on. It helps give support to us, the series, the sponsors, and the drivers. It's a big support, so definitely consider hitting that share button. And of course, like, following, subscribe to us on all three platforms that we broadcast on. So no matter where you are watching us, thank you so much for tuning in to watch tonight again for the Devs Duels at Daytona. It's going to be some phenomenal racing tonight. Intensity Broadcasting is proud to be partnered with Butt Kicker. And for those of you who don't know what Butt Kicker is, let me tell you a little bit about them. Butt Kicker is the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel ultra-low-frequency sounds. Their products are used, of course, around the world by PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is the new and upgraded sim racing and gaming hardware that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one is right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. Again, thebuttkicker.com is the website belonging to the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. So thank you so much to the Butt Kicker for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. If you are an iRacer, definitely consider checking them out. Their products are easy to install with whatever sim racing setup you have. I always make sure to use mine whenever I'm on iRacing. Makes for an incredible, incredible experience. So definitely make sure to go check them out. Brian Nudi jumps to second on the board with a 49.60. It came down to the 1,000th or maybe even 10,000th of a second to determine who was on the pole. But looks like iRacing will still give that first place spot to Devin Buchno. Cheeseburger will be in third with that 49.62. 200ths off of Devin Buchno. Want to quickly go over what happened last season. We saw Jeffrey Belke won the season finale at Phoenix, and he would win the final season of the SCSRA Xfinity Series, Season 4. He had 3 wins, one of those, of course, being that championship. It was a phenomenal season for Jeffrey Belke. And then the winner of the team championship, that was CCM. They had 9 total wins that season and a 1,000-point lead over second place IDBC Racing. They were definitely the team to beat all season long. A look ahead to tonight's event. Here are the things to watch for. First of all, the draft. The draft is a major factor at Daytona, and it can make or break a driver's race. Drivers will need to be able to work together to stay in the draft and avoid getting caught up in a wreck. The high banks at Daytona can be tough on cars. They can also lead to some exciting racing. Drivers will need to be able to handle the high speeds and the high banks if they want to win tonight's event. And lastly, the crashes. Daytona is known for its crashes, and tonight's races are sure to be no different. Drivers will need to be able to avoid accidents and stay on the lead lap if they want to win the race. There we go. Practice has wrapped up, and we are getting set for duel number 1. So here's who is going to be locked in to our duels, to our Daytona 500 next week. Dave Wright and Joe Wright are guaranteed to make up the front row of that race. So let's take a look at the starting lineup for duel number 1. This will determine the inside row for the Daytona 500. Dave Wright will be starting on the pole with a 49.592, driver for Neon Racing. In the second place spot in the 68 machine, that's Neon Racing's Devin Buchino. Third, it's Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence in the 47. Fourth is that 8 CCM driver of Eddie Morris. And then running out your top 5, we have Ryan Gomez in the 55. In sixth, Mission 22 Motorsports' Brian Boyd in the 77. Another one of our rookies, Matt Allen in the 48, driver for Allen Motorsports. Eighth, that's Rick Tillman in the 14. Ninth, it's the 79 of Billy Tipoff. And rounding out your top 10 is DBC Racing's Josh Hall in the 81. Starting last, but most certainly not least, that is the Wasted Wages Racing driver of Cody Moore in the 52. So here we go. This duel will be 30 laps. No stage break. Only caution that will come out will be because of an incident. Like I mentioned before, this race will be determining the inside row of next week's Daytona 500. I do want to mention there are points on the line. The top 10 in each duel will receive regular season points similar to the stage. So if you win a duel, you'll get 10 regular season points, going all the way down to 10th place, who will receive 1 regular season point. So we've got Neon Racing teammates on the front row. Behind them, it's Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence and Eddie Morris. Who's also behind his Neon Racing teammate. Green flag is out. We are underway for duel number 1 here at Daytona. We see Dave Wright. He will lead the pack into turns 1 and 2 with Devin Buchno on his outside. Devin Buchno, he's got his teammate Eddie Morris behind him, while we see 2 non-teammates working with each other on the bottom with Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence behind Dave Wright. So right now, we're going to be seeing movers and shakers throughout these first 5 laps. Dave Wright in that bottom lane, they've got a great run right now, heading into 3 and 4. We see Cheeseburger giving Dave a great push. But Eddie, Devin, even though this is their first season as teammates, they've worked with each other a lot at these super speedways. They've got a great run on the outside. Buchino is clear over Dave Wright, and looks like he's going to take Eddie Morris with them, both of them able to get down to the bottom. And I believe Devin Buchino will lead that first lap. So now, Brian Boyd in the 78, he leads the top lane. And he's got the 14 of Rick Tillman behind him. Looks like he tucks into the bottom lane. The field's starting to get single file. Yeah, we only got 1 car on the outside lane right now. Devin Buchno leads the way. And right now, at this point in the race, drivers trying to work their way up to the field, trying to move around and get grouped up with their teammates. Teams play a very important role at these super speedways because these guys, they're in a voice channel with their teammates. You know, they're communicating with them, giving them information that's very valuable information that they need. So you want to try to be grouped up with their teammates because you know what they're going to do because you're in a voice channel with them. Other drivers not on the same team as you, they can be a lot more unpredictable. So right now, it's a good situation for Neon Racing because 1, 2, and 3, your top 3 are Neon Racing drivers. We saw Dave Wright. He just ran the fastest lap time of the race. 46.54 was the time for that 84 machine. The entire field pretty much single file as we are approaching lap number 4 of this race. All right, looks like our leaders are going up to the outside. They're bringing the train up to the high side, going around that white wall. The field going up there with them. And while we're looking at it, I do want to quickly introduce the teams that we will have this season for the SCSRA Next Gen Series. Wasted Wages Racing will consist of Cody Moore and Brian Nudie. Neon Racing will consist of, hold on, let me get the full team rosters here because some drivers are not here tonight for the duels. Here we go. Here's a look at the team rosters. We've got Neon Racing. They will consist of the 68 of Devin Butchno, the 13 of Brian Merle Jr., the 82 of Joe Wright, the 8 of Eddie Morris, and the 84 of Dave Wright. Then we have Wasted Wages Racing. That will consist of the 17 of Colin Willems, the 35 of Will Witt, the 40 of Brian Nudie, the 52 of Cody Moore, and the 99 of Austin Blaylock. Then DBC Racing. They consist of David Hartney in the 43, Jeffrey Belk in the 54, Josh Hall in the 81, Michael Lawrence in the 47, and then one of our rookies, Charles Ballance, in the 41. For Mission 22 Motorsports, that is the 78 of Brian Boyd, rookie. SNH Racing consists of Jason Stinson. He is a rookie. Merle Racing consists of Brett Merle in the 11, Jake McCarty in the 4, rookie Gannon Cyphers in the 3, rookie Brexton Zog in the 58, and rookie Rick Tillman in the 14. And then for lastly, we have Allen Motorsports. They consist of Matt Allen in the 127. He is a rookie contender. And then the independents that will be competing throughout the season: Sylvain Seagoin in the 66, rookie William Tithoff in the 79, rookie Jared Barclay in the 10, and rookie Ryan Gomez in the 55. So we have a stout field of next-gen drivers this season. Got less than 25 laps to go in this first duel. And Devin Butchno continues to lead the way. Field is single file. So I think right now these drivers, they just look to be content running single file. We do have one car on that bottom lane. That looks to be the 55 of Ryan Gomez. He will fall to the rear of the field. But once again, really good situation for Neon Racing. They make up the top 3 of this train that we're seeing go around that white wall of this 2.5-mile racetrack. A lot of new drivers on that Neon Racing team. Again, Eddie Morris, Dave Wright, and Joe Wright, new additions, while 2 returning drivers are Devin Butchno and then Brian Merle Jr. Dave Wright doesn't really need to do well in this duel too much because he is already locked into the front row, but some regular season points could definitely help that 84 machine, which he will get he'll get a certain amount depending on where he finishes in the top 10. There is one space where a driver could not get a point, and that is whoever finishes 11th. So right now, Josh Hall in that 11th place position. Oh, we got drivers dropping to the bottom lane. Looks like Devin Butchno will now drop to the 2nd place spot. Eddie Morris and Dave Wright go underneath him, so now Eddie Morris is to the lead. That may have been planned by the team. to kind of switch up who is leading laps. We got a few drivers dropping to the bottom lane. That looks to be the 127 of Matt Allen. So now Eddie Morris, 21 to go. He leads the field. He's got Devin Buchno behind him. And Dave Wright in third. Been a very tame race so far. Tame 9 laps. These drivers figuring out the new next-gen cars. I've driven them, and they are definitely different compared to what these drivers are used to with the Xfinity cars. They're definitely a lot more skatey on track. They move around a lot more. So that's something that these drivers are going to have to get used to. You got to be really stable on the wheel at these super speedways. I know some drivers were complaining about some other drivers kind of moving up and down throughout that throughout the truck race. These next gens are even harder to try to keep in a straight line, keep straight for the guy who's pushing you. So these drivers trying to figure out these next gen cars. It's definitely going to be a learning curve throughout this season. But I'm glad they made the switch. These are fun cars. I'm interested in how they're going to perform on all the different track types. We're just seeing right now how they perform in a super speedway. We're going to get to see them on short tracks, 1.5 miles, road courses, and other intermediate tracks. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a lot like 2022 in the actual NASCAR Cup Series. Teams, drivers learning this new car. We do have a driver on that bottom lane. That is Matt Allen. But looks like he goes back up to the high side. We're still single file racing here. Matt Allen diving down to the bottom. We'll see if anybody else goes down there and helps him out. Matt Allen is on a team by himself. So he doesn't really have any other teammates to work with. So he's just going to try his best to help anyone he can and I'm sure he hopes that anybody else will try to give him a hand. Looks like Eddie Morris, he leads the train of these next-gen cars down to that yellow line. But then he takes them back out to the wall. Looks like he stays out on the wall, but Devin Buchno's got a good run. Dave Wright will make it 3 wide. Looks like Dave Wright has the best run on the bottom. He will get clear over Devin Buchno. Eddie Morris stuck on the outside lane. Looks like he's getting help from the 77 of Brian Boyd. So right now, Morris, Boyd working with each other on the outside. Eddie has been separated from his teammates. While it is Dave Wright and Devin Buchno working together. We see Dave and Devin, they make their way up to the outside now, in front of their teammate Eddie Morris. So that means that Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence leads the bottom train now. And he is getting a push. Oh, looks like Cheeseburger and Ryan Gomez goes to the outside. So we really only have 2 cars on the bottom now. That is Billy Tidoff and Rick Tillman. Looks like Billy will go to the outside. Rick Tillman stays on the bottom for the time being. I assume he's also going to jump to the outside behind this train of cars. Got a little bit dicey there for just a few seconds. We were 3 wide pretty much at one point. but looks like the Neon Racing drivers have gotten back together in a pack. We've had 3 different leaders so far, all of them Neon Racing drivers. We've got Dave Wright in the lead now, getting a push from Devin Butchnew, and then they also have their teammate Eddie Morris behind them. Looks like these 2 cars breaking away from the rest of the field. Got a decent gap between Butchnew and Morris, although that gap does look to be closing here. 15 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway. I want to talk really quickly about the track that we are racing at tonight. One of the most iconic racetracks, but for those of you who don't know about Daytona, let me tell you a little bit about it. No one could have known it then, but when Daytona International Speedway opened in 1959, it marked the beginning of a new era in American motorsport. As a replacement for the old beach road course a few miles east, the high-bank 2.5-mile Florida Tri-Oval represented the leading edge of a wave of construction of big paved speed palaces. Before Daytona, Indianapolis was the only American oval track longer than 1.25 miles, and most racing took place on dirt ovals a mile or less in length. From the very first Daytona 500, won by Lee Petty, and a 3-way photo finish, those high banks, so steep that it is hard to walk up them, proved a favorable venue for wide-open stock car racing, and Daytona kicked off the growth of NASCAR as we know it today. Daytona was also the first multi-use facility with a 3.56-mile road circuit incorporating the infield and most of the oval. Host not only to the Daytona 500, but the Rolex 24 Sports Car Enduro, Bike Week's Daytona 200, Daytona Kart Week between Christmas and New Year's, and a host of driving school, club, and other events, Daytona's busy and diverse schedule confirms the track's motto, the World Center of Racing. Daytona International Speedway's infrastructure has grown and changed to such a degree that it would be almost unrecognizable today to someone who hasn't seen it since the track opened. But one thing hasn't changed. Over the past 6 decades, no driver can consider his or her career complete without notching a victory at Daytona. I have the awesome opportunity this year to check out the Xfinity and ARCA race at Daytona. And I'd been to Daytona before, but this was my first up-close and personal look at racing here. And it's an incredible racetrack. It's an incredible experience to be here at Daytona at the World Center of Racing. Oh my goodness, we got Cody Moore. He is flying around the outside lane. Oh my goodness. He is all by himself. He got a car in the wall. That's Matt Allen. Looks like body panels flying off that 127 machine. We got cars going through the grass. We are side by side for first. Cody Moore, he's got the nose on the outside, but he does not have anybody behind him giving him a push. Here comes Brian Boyd in the 78 getting up to the back bumper of Cody Moore. We see Cheeseburger. He is up there as well. The Neon Racing drivers. And there we go. Cody Moore is a good enough run that looks like he will be able to drop down to the bottom lane and take the lead here at Daytona. Brian Boyd, he will lead the outside lane with Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence behind him. Brian Boyd has a good enough run on the outside. Good push from Cheeseburger. He drops down to that bottom lane now. So Brian Boyd leads the field. Cheeseburger stuck by himself on that outside. We'll see if any drivers go up there to give him a hand, give him a draft. But that was insane, the run that Cody Moore had on that outside there. What I think happened was the rest of the field, and there we go, we see Brian Boyd, he jumps to the outside, and he is going to give Cheeseburger a little bit of draft. And looks like these two are able to get clear over the rest of the field. And they now take the lead. So 78, Brian Boyd, he will lead the field. He's got Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence on his rear bumper. We got a driver on pit road. That's Matt Allen. Looks like he was involved in that incident we saw there. No caution flag came out. Looks like he got a faster pair and I believe some fuel and tires. here's what I think happened there. So we saw Cody Moore. He was a single car. He was flying around the outside. What I believe happened was the rest of the pack, they were saving fuel, so they were pretty much half throttle, a lot slower than Cody Moore was. So even though Cody Moore was by himself, he could still fly around most of the field, and so that's why he had that big run on the outside. Fortunately, it did not work to plan, and he did not get to the lead. He's still in the top 3, though. He is in position to win this race if he makes the right moves. But he is not currently leading after the move that he made. We saw the same thing happen in, I believe, a truck race, the Daytona truck race last season, where we saw, and I was in this race, and everybody was about half throttle saving fuel, and then we saw a few drivers who were good on fuel. They just flew around the outside and got to the lead, got the win. So as Brian Boyd crosses the start-finish line, that'll make it 7 laps to go. Brian Boyd, one of our rookies this year, he is driving with Mission 22 Motorsports. He is showing the veterans of this series, hey, watch out for me. I'm going to be a contender throughout this season. Looking very, very good so far. He leads this pack of 6 cars. Then behind them, we've got another pack that looks to be 3 cars. Josh Hall, Rick Tillman, and also is Billy Todoff. They make up 7th through 9th. Got Ryan Gomez. He is the last driver on the lead lap. He sits in 10th. And then Matt Allen, he is a lap down in 11th. So at this stage of the race, I mean, here are my favorites to watch at this point of the race. I mean, first of all, Eddie Morris. He has won the last 3 Daytona truck races, but he has never won here at Daytona in the Xfinity Series, at least for the Daytona 500, the main event. He may have won a duel, I'm not exactly sure. But Eddie Morris, he's an extremely skilled super speedway racer. Yes, he is in 6th place right now, but he knows the exact moves that he needs to make to get up front and potentially take the win. And then, of course, another driver who has just showed a lot of speed all race long, who isn't in that Neon Racing camp. I mean, any of the Neon Racing drivers, right, Butch No Morris, they're going to be ones to watch out for. But I say watch out for Brian Boyd in the 78, your current leader. Even though he does not have any teammates with him in the field in this duel, he has shown a ton of speed just working with other drivers from other teams. And here he is leading the pack with 5 laps to go. Typically, you're a sitting duck if you're in the lead in the later portions of these super speedway races. But Boyd has showed he's a very skilled super speedway driver. He can get to the front, and we're going to see if his skills can keep him up front. He is in the Mission 22 car. Mission 22 is one of the partners of the Morris Customs Truck Series. Intensity Broadcasting has done a few things with Mission 22 before, so we're glad to have them back on board as a partner for the Morris Customs Truck Series. We got less than 5 laps to go here at Daytona. Brian Boyd leads. This pack of 6 still single file. All right, we got some drivers jumping up to the outside. Looks like all Neon Racing drivers. Oh, looks like Brian Boyd, he goes up to the outside to block. Cheeseburger dives underneath them side by side for first. Dave Wright goes to the top, making it 3 wide. Good run on the bottom for Cheeseburger, but looks like Dave Wright has the best run, getting a good push from Devin Butchnow. And look at that, Neon Racing, perfectly timed run. Looks like they are all able to get clear over the rest of the field, and they lead the pack now. Great move by Neon Racing, with Dave Wright leading the pack but we also got to give a shout out to Devin Butchno for giving Dave a good push, getting him out to the front. But this race is not over yet. We see Brian Boyd diving underneath Eddie Morse for that third place spot. He's getting a push from Cody Moore. Looks like Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence has lost the pack, making this a 5-car pack. And looks like Cody Moore, he jumps up to the outside though now, leaving just Brian Boyd on the bottom. Brian Boyd will tuck in line behind Cody Moore. 2 laps to go. Top 5 all single file. See Josh Hall on pit road right now. Oh, Cody Moore into the outside wall. Looks like he comes down into Brian Boyd. Brian Boyd onto the apron. He almost, that could have been bad, but looks like both of them save it. Here's Dave Wright coming off of 4. He will make it 1 lap to go. He's got his teammates Devin Butchino and Eddie Morse behind him. Dave Wright had a phenomenal qualifying run. He started on the pole. He's already got himself locked in to the front row for next week's Daytona 500. There's Cody Moore diving it down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's underneath Eddie Morse for 3rd, but he doesn't have anybody behind him giving him any help. He can't have a good run unless he has a drafting partner, and looks like he didn't have a good enough run, so now he loses that 4th place spot to Brian Boyd. Now Boyd underneath Eddie for 3rd, but once again, Boyd without a drafting partner, and he is going to tuck in line behind Eddie. Here's Dave Wright heading off of turn number 4. He's got Devin Butchno behind him. Devin Butchno will look low to try to take the lead. He will win the race in a photo finish. Dave Wright will finish 2nd, with Eddie Morris finishing 3rd. Brian Boyd will take 4th, and Cody Moore will finish 5th. I believe since Dave Wright was kind of already locked into that front row, he kind of went to the outside and let Devin get that good run on the bottom to get those 10 points. What a race for those 3 Neon Racing drivers. They just found a way to control the field. And it worked out in their favor as one of their drivers, Devin Butchino, has parked it into victory lane. All right, we are now gridding for our 2nd heat race. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for this 2nd heat race. Starting on the pole with a phenomenal lap time of 49.596. It's the 82 of Joe Wright. In 2nd, we have Brian Nudie in the 40. 3rd is the 43 IDBC Sim Racing driver of David Hartney. 4th, DBC Sim Racing's Jeffrey Belk in the 54. And rounding out your top 5, that is Neon Racing's Brian Merle Jr. in the 13. 6th, it's Merle Racing's Gannon Cyphers in the 3. 7th is the 11 Merle Racing driver Brett Merle. 8th, Riley Gomez in the 17. 9th, Jonathan Zog in the 57. And rounding out your top 10, that is Charlie Bolland Sr. in the 41. We're going to quickly pull in your duel number 1 winner while we're pacing. That's Devin Butchno. Devin, this is out in the broadcast room. Do you have a copy?
I got you, man.
Awesome. Well, phenomenal run here in duel number 1. We saw 1, 2, 3 for Neon Racing. It just looked like you guys were able to control the field right off the bat. And I know you were behind Dave there coming to the finish line, but you had a great run off of 4, able to get the win. Just kind of walk us through your race and walk us through, what was going through your head those last few laps.
Yeah, these next-gen cars are just a different breed, man. So we practiced after the truck race yesterday, and we really just used this as a practice session. We felt like we were really able to control the lines, and it was pretty cool to have single file racing up by the wall because people don't normally do that. I know we were tight on fuel, so we were just trying to rotate as much as we could. We cycled through to have Eddie lead, and then we had one pretty bad cycle to where they got next to us, but the 3 of us stuck together and we were able to power around on the outside. That outside's gonna it's going to be I think it's going to be the thing to watch for come next week. But it was just a really good team effort by everyone. Eddie, D-Ray, they held their lines perfectly, gave really good pushes, and yeah, I'm really excited for this next one and then tomorrow or next week.
Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. I know you'd express something in the chat, kind of sticking around and announcing the races. You want to announce the second duel?
Oh, I would love to take a look at that with you, Atlee.
All right. Well, I'm going to quickly share my screen, kind of show you what's going on the broadcast right now. Looks like a nice jump for Brian Nudie on the start. He started on the outside. He's got Joe Wright. Looks like Brian will drop down to the bottom in front of Joe Wright. These two are former teammates, but we saw Brian, he's gone to Wasted Wages Racing. Joe Wright now with Neon Racing. CCM is folded, so now they're working with each other once again with Jeffrey Belk in third. I think we're going to kind of see the same thing where the field kind of starts to get single file early on. What was kind of the thought process behind that there, Devin?
I think the thought process was fuel, because that 30 laps, I think this is also another reason why it's a practice session for next week, because that first stage is 30 laps, and our fuel is right at that 30 mark to start. So that's why I think some guys are being really conservative. But these next gen cars, if you play it too conservative, you can lose the draft, which I know we saw Josh and Cody do. So it's a very fine line of being in that pack, being aggressive, and then having enough fuel to make it these 30 laps here.
Looks like we also got Dave Wright in the waiting room. I'll go ahead and pull him in here.
Our pole sitter, Rocket Man.
Look at that. Hey, Dave, this is Atlee and Devin in the broadcast, and we got a copy.
Yeah, man, I got you. What's up, buddy?
Doing good here in the broadcast booth, calling this second duel. Wow, we got kind of this single file action. Go ahead and kind of talk us about, your race working with the Neon Racing drivers.
Yeah, really fast tonight. Turned out to be a little bit of a fuel mileage race, so migrated to the top. Try to see if we can get the field to follow us as they did. And these cars, these next gen cars are tough to pass unless you get in a good group of at least probably 3 of them. Sometimes you get a run with 2, but it'll die out. It's always strength in numbers here. So it was good to be in a duel with 2 of your teammates.
Got you. Well, do you want to stick around in the broadcast booth?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
All right. Well, this looks like 3 laps through the duel right now. Field has gotten kind of single file with Brian Nudie in first, Joe Wright second, Jeffrey Belk third. We got Brian Boyd in the YouTube chat. He said, I had 0.8 laps of fuel left at the end. That was definitely cutting it close there, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens there next week for the Daytona 500 with kind of fuel saving.
Yeah, that's why I think it was good that we put these duels to 30 laps, because it is a practice for that first stage. So you want to get out there, you want to be aggressive, you want to be leading this thing, you want to have that side by side racing, but bigger picture. And there are 10 points on the line. The duels are just like the stages. First place does get 10 regular season points, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. So there are people, they'll be aggressive to get their points, because you could make or miss the playoffs by just a point or 2.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't. It'd definitely be nice for the drivers to finish in the top 10 to have the point standing lead or be in the top 5 in points after not even having a regular season race yet. So looks like these drivers really fighting hard for the top 10. We do have a group of drivers on the outside. That was the 11 of Brett Merle. He drops down to the bottom, so that just leaves Charles Ballance Sr. in the 41 on that outside, but looks like he doesn't have anybody to push. And like you said, you got to have somebody with you on that outside. So it looks like he's going to drop in line with the rest of the field. I want to say we did see Cody have a great run there. Was he just taking advantage of the fact, were you all kind of half throttle going around the track, and he just kind of put the pedal to the metal to try to get to the front?
That's exactly what happened, man. About 3/4, not half. We were running 178, 176, which qualifying laps 180. So,
all right, I figured. I know we had something similar like that happen in the Daytona season opener of the truck race last season, where fuel saving, then we had some drivers go around the outside and go full throttle, and they were able to make it and get the win. So always interesting to see those kind of fuel strategies come into play, and I'm sure we'll kind of see that all throughout tonight. But right now, Brian Nudie leads the field with Joe Wright in that second place spot. And again, Jeffrey Belk, he's keeping in that third place spot. We see Brian, he is rocking the Devs Sports Cards car. And of course, we have the owner in the broadcast booth tonight, Devin Butchno. I know I always read the ads, but would you mind, telling us a little bit more about your company that's not an ad? What do you want the viewers to know a little bit more about Dev Sports Cards?
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I started it. I worked at a local card shop up in New York here when I was 2013, so I would have been about 17 years old, and had a couple regulars, some older gentlemen who didn't really have the time to sell their cards, and I was dabbling into selling on eBay. So that's kind of where the consignment business just took off. They don't have the time to do it, so I spend my time listing for them. I take my little bit of percentage, and then they get paid out. And a lot of people love that. Sometimes they have too much inventory. Sometimes they just don't have time. I have customers that are my age that just don't want to deal with it and they just want to get paid. And then I have other customers who are in their 30s, 40s, have kids, work, sports with their children and don't have time to do it. So that's why I help them out. And it was really cool to find my niche because a lot of people don't like spending the time listing on eBay. And I just, I'll throw on some music, throw on an intensity broadcast from a previous season or something and just chip away at it. But yeah, we dabble in everything. It's a really tight knit community. I've met a lot of people. I've made some lifelong friends, just like I did with the SCSRA, all these guys. I've made some friends through cards as well. Friends that I've known for over a decade now. I've met in real life, whether it's shows down in your area, Virginia. I've gone all the way to Tampa, Chicago, Boston, Cleveland, you name it. I'm always at these shows, and I just love doing it. I think it's good to have a hobby. I think you got a little bit cooler hobby, Atlee. I'm a little jealous of you when it comes to that. I think it's a little cooler, but it's just something fun to do. I'd love to, maybe do it full time and be able to travel whenever I can. That's the goal, just to just keep investing and just have the inventory for everyone and, kids, adults, anyone that comes by.
Well, I know I'm a sports card collector myself, and there's always in those packs, besides the inserts, there's a lot of cards that you don't necessarily need in your inventory, and it all kind of piles up. So I'm sure all the people that are your customers that work with your consignment services, I'm sure they definitely appreciate being able to take advantage of that and getting rid of some of the unnecessary cards that you don't need. And I always make sure to check out your website when I'm putting the link into the description of the broadcast. You got some awesome items on there. Everything from relic cards, a lot of cool NASCAR stuff. So you had like a JFK sweater card. I mean, you got a lot of awesome stuff on there. So definitely make sure to check out the Dev Sports Cards. And I mean, thank you so much for always sponsoring the series, supporting SCSRA Intensity Broadcasting. I know we definitely appreciate your support, Devin.
Yeah, thank you to you and your dad as well. I know we talked earlier because this is the first season. Nudi's been busy with kids and sports and stuff, so it was my first time really getting stuff ready for the season. Talked to your dad for a while, so I appreciate you and your dad, everything you do for us, and Josh on Tuesdays as well. You guys do a really fantastic job.
It's been awesome to see a lot of new faces here in this SCSRA Next Gen Series. Got a lot of rookies competing for the Rookie of the Year this season, which is definitely fun to see. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be on the front in the playoffs. Will it be kind of the veterans of the series, guys like Jeffrey Belk, Nudie, Morris, or are we going to see some of the rookies make some noise and get up to the front? That'll be interesting to see. Speaking of making some noise, we got some drivers on the outside. That is, looks like to be Brett Merle and Gannon Cyphers. They got a great run on the outside, and looks like they did the same thing that Cody kind of did. They fly by on that outside. These two teammates with Merle Racing, they get grouped up, and they're just starting to get away from the rest of the field, but I bet that gap will decrease as everybody kind of gets back to full throttle.
Yeah, it looked like Nudie figured out he needed to save some gas there, so he got out of it. I was on the board with Joe, and he was going about 173 there when they went by him, so it looked like they were standing still.
I was gonna say that's probably the best thing that could have happened to Nudie, because leading for 10 laps out in front, he's gonna be in a bit of a hole. It's gonna be very tight for him. He's gonna have to really get into save mode here with 20 to go.
So now that will put Joe Wright in the third place spot. Like you mentioned, Nudie falls to the fifth place spot, where once again single file with the Merle Racing teammates of Brett Merle and Gannon Cyphers working with each other. Gannon Cyphers, one of our rookies this season. Excited to see what he can do throughout this season working with his Merle Racing teammates. Definitely has a good team owner with him in Brett Merle. Brett had a great season last year running with your team with Neon Racing. He ended up getting into the playoffs, had 3 top 10s, made a lot of noise, especially at kind of the shorter track. So interesting to see how he'll do with his new team that he started.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I feel D-Rate's one of them as well that are just coming off career years. I mean, there's got to be 4 or 5 guys that I think are just right on the cusp of getting that win. So he's definitely one to watch for the season in both series. Like you said, short track guy. He's super fast. You know, your Bristols, your Richmonds, your Martinsvilles. I think there's going to be a ton of parity with the season because a lot of the SCSRA vets, they don't have a lot of laps in these next gens, and talking to a lot of the rookies, they do have a lot of experience in these next gens. So I think just like in real life last year, I think we're going to see a lot of different winners and some new faces in the playoffs.
I know when I first stepped into these next gen cars here at Daytona, I'm like, goodness gracious, this is a lot different than the trucks or the Xfinity series. I'm interested to hear what do you believe are kind of the biggest differences that you noticed right away?
I think the biggest thing, the only thing I can think to compare it to is drag racing when they finish their run and the parachute comes out. The second someone puts their car on your right rear quarter or left quarter, it just feels like a parachute comes out. I mean, you can audibly hear the RPMs jump down what feels like 1,000 RPM. It sucks these cars back so much. But another thing too, we noticed there is a tandem in these cars. You know, me and Eddie were last night. We did some practice and they were side by side behind us in third. Me and Eddie got locked up and we pulled away by half a second. So there's going to be runs coming. They're going to be coming quick. And like Bubba in real life last week, you know, you can't throw 2 blocks. You're going to have to, you know, maybe not even throw one because these runs just come so strong and so fierce. You got to be watching at all times.
Speaking of strong runs, looked like Neon Racing got grouped together on that outside lane. We saw Brian and Joe hooked up, and looks like both of them able to drop down and gets to the lead. And looks like Brian Nudie, he will find a way to tuck in line behind Junior in that third place spot. So great run for Neon Racing. They are also looking to try to dominate this next race.
Yeah, they got the Pied Piper Eddie Morris. He's spotting for those guys right now. So you have the best in the business calling the shots from the blimp for him. Not surprised they made a move like that.
Looks like we got some drivers working together on the outside lane. Some of our rookies. We did see a driver into the outside wall. That is Jonathan Zog. Got a little bit too high up the corner. These cars, they're really easy to lose, especially if you're running on that outside. We saw that happen there. He tags the wall and he falls behind and going to have to tuck in line in the rear of the pack.
But still plenty of fuel saving going on as you see that 41 still maintaining pace at man with the whole line of what is that, 8-9 cars?
Yeah, it's 9 cars. So yeah, you can see kind of they're running about 181 miles per hour through right now here on the back stretch. So I definitely think there's some fuel saving going on, and I think we'll continue to see that until maybe 5 or 3 laps to go.
41's got no friends right now. No one letting him in. He's got to put the blinker on. Those Fords come with blinkers, that man?
No, not that I know of. I wish I needed them when I was going through lap traffic. So, yeah, Ballant's gonna need to just try to find a way to tuck in line, but there isn't a ton of room. So he's just listening to his spotter, just trying to wait for the right moment to drop down. I know he's working with the DBC Racing guys, so he's got Josh, Cheeseburger, Hartney, and Belk in his ear, just trying to guide him down to that bottom lane. I think if he can get near Belk and Hartney, they might try to give him some room to tuck in line, but at the moment he's with some non-teammates underneath him, so we're gonna see where he can try to drop in line. Like Joe's starting to pull away a little bit. He's got about 2/10 gap between himself and Junior. That will close. You can really build up some good runs in these next-gen cars.
Yeah, we got a lot of teammates in this race to watch for. We got the Neon guys with Joe and Junior. We got the DBC guys with Belk, Balance, and then Hartney, and then we got the Merle Racing guys with Brett, Zog, and Gannon's Cypher. So it's going to come down to teammates at the end. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, absolutely, and it's been really cool to see some new. Oh, we got Junior jump into the outside lane. See if anybody, looks like he's going to be getting some help from Ballance, who's still trying to find a way to get down. And he has a good enough run that he is able to drop down to the bottom in front of Joe, taking that lead. So that will take a little bit of the stress off of Joe of being that lead car, because you definitely burn a lot more fuel as that lead car compared to being behind somebody. So it's good that they're switching it out and changing drivers, changing who's up front.
You called it, man. Excellent swap right there at high rates of speed. Balance tried to take advantage of it, but just not enough run to get past them both.
And now looks like he's fallen way back. I think he's going to try to tuck in line with his IDBC Racing teammates. No, looks like he's not going to be able to. I think he may fall pretty much to the rear of the pack. Oh, David Hartney jumps to the outside. Belk looking, yep, he's going to go up there as well. So DBC Racing going to try to make some noise here with 12 laps to go. They're going to be working with their new teammate of Charles Ballant Sr. But as they build up a big run on the outside, there's Junior and Joe to the outside. Hartney jumps underneath them. Belk follows behind them. We are side by side for the lead. Two different teams working with each other. Hartney, he's got the biggest run on the outside, getting a great push for Belk. These two have been working with each other ever since these two joined the series. And looks like Junior and Joe starting to fall back a little bit on the outside. We got Balance now behind his two teammates of Belk and Hartney. Junior and Joe going to need to try to find a place to fall in line, or they need some more help up there.
Yeah, that's one thing, Ant-Man, that just shows the difference from the other race, right? You had the three of us Neon guys up top. No one could get that run underneath and get past us, especially at full throttle. Two cars, a little bit different story. They kind of rocketed on by. Hartney was clear. Nice move by him, obviously, seeing the lane and going for it, and Belk staying right with him.
Wait, so you mean to tell me the duel with the Merle brothers is more aggressive than our duel?
Who'd have thought?
But and also I want to mention, the Belk and Hartney, they are used to racing with each other. I know they've been teammates with each other for a long, long time in this series since they joined the series in seasons 2. So they know how to work with each other. And they're also, looks like Balance in that third place spot. He's doing well working with his new teammates. So interesting to see how Joe and Junior are going to try to make a push back up front. I know they're going to try to. They are two very talented super speedway racers, both of them with wins at Talladega in their respective seasons that they won at. So interesting to see what's going to be their plan to try to get back up front.
Yeah, they just got to be patient. Somebody's going to join them, right? Eventually. It depends on how much gas, right, they can save and still stay with the pack up there in a decent line. But Brett, maybe even Gannon, someone's going to jump out and join them.
Yeah, this has been a lot more interesting compared to that Duel 1 just because we have a lot more different teams working with each other. I mean, between the DBC, the DBC, the Neon, the Merle Racing guys, the Wasted Wages guys, I mean, there's been a lot of parity with the teams in this second duel, so it's definitely made for a lot more competitive race, and I feel like this is a lot more of a sneak peek of what we're going to be seeing in next week's Daytona 500. It's going to be a fun race with these new next-gen cars, but interesting to see how this duel number 2 will end. We still have Junior Joe on that outside lane. Either going to stay up there or try to... Oh, we got somebody going up there to help him. Looks like Balance leaves his teammates, and he will lead that top train. 41, Charles Ballant Sr. He gets up in front of Junior and Wright, giving them a good run, but looks like he tucks... Oh, nope, he's going to hop up there to the outside, giving him some help. He's going to try to get to the lead in his first race, in his first next-gen race with his new SCSRA competitors. We see Joey tucks in line behind his former teammate, Brian Nudie. We see Balance tries to tuck in line, but there was not room. Brian Nudie and Balance also almost causing a wreck. We see Balance trying to block Joe. Joe will go to the outside, though. Looks like Balance will find some room to tuck in line on the bottom, back behind his DBC Racing teammates. Here comes Gannon Cyphers on the outside. Watch out for him. We saw Joe trying to dump some air on that left rear of Cyphers.
That was some pucker moment for the 82. The 13 pulled the chute and got out of there, too. And same with 40. Nudie, I'm sure. Him and the 41, a little bit collected. No one wanted to stay out there with Senior.
Yeah, looks like he's getting left out to dry. Joe Cyphers leading that outside lane. Oh, we see Joe tucking in line into the bottom now, trying to suck up to that 4-car pack with Brett Merle, the 4th car. So now Gannon Cyphers leads the outside lane. He is working with Brian Merle Jr. And he's going to try to get back up to his teammates. He's got Zog behind him, and he's got Brett Merle in front of him. David Hartney continues to lead the pack with teammate Jeffrey Belk on his rear, but outside trying to build up a run. Cypher's left rear quarter panel. Joe Wright, he goes around, cautions out. More cars tangling. We see the 17, Riley Gomez. No, that is not what those two wanted to see there. Unfortunate,
I'm not sure what was going on there.
Yeah, we're going to look at the wreckage replay to see exactly what happened to the 82, who looked to have a strong run on the outside. Man. Hate to see it, hate to see it. Let's see here. Ooh.
Yeah, and Gannon came over the radio. He apologized, said it was his fault, didn't know what to do, got caught in between, tried to let Joe back in, and Joe just didn't get the memo, obviously, was staying out there, so...
Yeah, so...
and then tried to come back in a little late.
Yeah, Cyphers makes it 3 wide with Gomez and Wright.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest points on the track to be 3 wide as well, so...
You're making those cuts towards the start-finish line. Yeah, looks like he just comes up the racetrack.
And we know how those runs are too, Butch, right? Eddie was talking about it even when we were trailing with like 5 to go when in the back, but it was just the 6 cars. And Eddie was like, man, he had to pull out a couple times because you let off and you're going to lose the draft, right?
Yep.
And that, you got to take the run.
See 17 getting some air time, but yeah, it just looked like Cyphers had a big run and came up the track, tagged that left rear quarter panel of Joe Wright, sending him around, so...
Yeah, and what's crazy about these cars, too, compared to Xfinity, I mean, we're coming off running Xfinity for 4 seasons over the course of 2.5 years, so this is obviously a big jump, and I think the biggest challenge and jump with these cars is the aero, because that time there was obvious contact between Gannon and Joe, but there's times where if someone gets on that quarter, it even pulls that truck to that side of that car a little bit, or once they break that bubble, that car does things that you don't expect it to do. So this whole season is going to be a learning curve. Guys are going to have to figure it out as we go. Obviously, Daytona, different circumstances, but even at the 1.5 miles, draft's going to be a huge factor this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Go ahead, Anya, sorry.
No, and absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're dumping air onto that, whether it be the left or right rear quarter panel. And it's going to be happening not just at the super speedways, but kind of at the 1.5 miles, like the old Atlanta we're going to be at, Charlotte. So it's definitely a lot different compared to the Gen 6 Cup cars. Definitely excited to continue to watch these drivers learn how to deal with these cars in the draft. And we just saw how sometimes you're learning and it goes wrong.
Well, the place to learn it is definitely, you don't want it to happen, but you'd rather have it happen in the qualifying night rather than the big show. So
this whole race changed, though, that's for sure. There's not going to be much single file racing this time. The restart here is going to be pretty nutty, I would imagine, as we got green white checker, Booch coming.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think Hartney takes that outside to get in front, or do you think that bogs down the inside lane too much? Because if you start side by side, you kind of control that Daytona. We've seen it with those wasted wages guys where they've gotten out front in the 500 and they have 2 lanes and there's no getting by them. But I'm curious to see what they do on this restart here.
I would honestly say, just from what I've seen broadcasting this series for so long, I have a feeling Hartney's going to choose the outside, so as soon as that green flag drops, he can just jump down right in front of Belk, taking the run away from the outside, giving the run to the bottom. So I'll be interested, though, if he does go down to the bottom lane. We'll just have to wait and see. And interesting to see, what teammates are going to be grouped up behind each other, because that could play a factor, because it benefits you if you're restarting in one place and then you've got your teammate restarting directly behind you. There you go. Hartney will be restarting on the outside.
Had a little bit of a bang up in the back there. Nudie got into the 57 under caution. There was a little bit of a checkup. And yeah, and I'm wondering about fuel here too, Butch. I know they're under caution, but that green-white checker, some of them might have been, especially them DBC guys that got up to the front, unless they were saving enough.
Yeah, it'll be close. I saw Nudie duck on a pit road to top off, but he's got a lot of work to make up. It's going to be tough. If those guys get 1-2, if they do it quick and do it the right way, Hartney and Belk, it's going to be tough because you're going to need numbers to make the move on the outside. And you can have a run, but once you get side by side with, say, Belk in second, that could just kill you, and Hartney could just maintain the car length, 2 car length, 3 car lengths ahead of him and drive this one into the night.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we did have 3 drivers come in and top off on fuel. That was Brian Nudi, Brian Merle Jr., and Joe Wright. So all of them banking on the fact that Belk and Hartney and Merle and Balance, all of them, they're banking that they run out of fuel and they can just get by them with that since they've topped off on fuel. So this could be a fuel mileage finish. Interested to see what's going to happen here. Again, Hartney, he is the control car on that outside lane with his teammate Jeffrey Belk underneath him. Looks like Balance, he's going to be restarting behind his teammate David Hartney, both of them with DBC Racing. Gannon Cyphers is behind his teammate Brian Merle Jr. We've got the teammates Joe Wright, Brian Merle Jr. close to each other. So we've got teammate, and Jonathan Zog is near Jr. and Cyphers. So teammates going to try to get with each other and try to get to the front. Pace car is in. Green flag is back out. Green, white, checkered. David Hartney, great restart, hoping to dip down in front of his teammate Jeffrey Belk. Yes, he is able to. So now Charles Balance, he will lead the outside lane. He has nobody behind him giving him a good enough push. So that is going to allow that bottom lane to just have a nice run. We see Balance. He tucks in line in that fourth place position behind Brett Merle. There's Gannon Cyphers. Brian Nudi jumping to the outside lane, trying to build up a good run up there. Balance goes up there as well. We see Hartney trying his best to keep it in the lead, getting a good push from his teammate, Jeffrey Belk. We see Merle peeking to the outside, maybe going to go up there. Will Balance go up there, or will he try to stick with his teammates? Oh, we see Junior down onto the apron. 1 lap to go. We got Joe Wright, good run on the outside. He's getting a push from... Oh, we see contact. Balance, Joe getting into each other. Now this just leaves the 3-card pack. Hartney, Belk, Merle. We see Junior not far behind in 4th place. He might try to catch up to the field. We may see Merle and Junior break off. Yes, both of them. We got a Merle brother versus DBC battle here. They're trying to get a good run on the outside. Will it be enough?
Might have pulled that move a little too early. They should have stayed in the draft, I think.
Looks like,
let's see how it comes out at 4.
Yeah, Brian Nudi joining this pack as well. They jump up to the outside again. We see good run. He's able to get past Belk. He is to the outside of Hartney. They're side by side. There goes Junior, and Brett Merle will win duel number 2. What a finish, wrecking across the line.
What a finish. That is Brett's 2nd career duel win. He got one in season 3 as well.
Awesome finish. Brother pushing him to the win.
Wow. That was some good teamwork that we saw there from the Merle brothers.
And that's the thing too, because as Dee was saying, I mean, they looked dead in the water in the middle of 3 and 4, absolutely dead in the water. And Junior was able to break that bubble, get to his bumper. I mean, what, 5 car lengths on the exit of 4, and they still had enough to generate. It's Wednesday is going to be incredible next week.
This is just making me so excited for next week's finish, because what an exciting duel number 2. We got some guys in the chat I'll shout. So we got Brian Boyd and there. David Eisenhower says, hello, hey, David, thanks for tuning in. Colin Williams says, great finish, way to go, Merle boys. Thanks for tuning in, Colin. Man, that was an awesome, awesome finish. Couldn't have asked for a better finish there.
As the official SCSRA or SCSRA stat man, I do have to go into my Larry Mack book and say that in season 3, I actually won the first duel and Brett won the second duel. So that's the 2nd time this has happened.
History repeats itself.
It does. It absolutely does. Who won the 500 that year? Because whoever did, they're in good spot. I want to say it was Colin.
Colin, yeah, he won season 3. So watch out. We may see 3rd super speed Daytona win for Colin Williams.
Yeah, he's good at these tracks, man. Those wasted wages guys, they work really well together. I mean, how many championships are there combined between him, Cody, and Colin, or Nudie, Colin, and Cody? Then you got Blaylock, who also won 2 super speedway races last season, and then it's going to be great racing next week. I mean, I think this was just a preview of what we're in store for next week.
All right, we got a happy Brett Merle in the waiting room. Let's go ahead and pull him in, chat with him about that wild race that he had. Brett, this is Atlee, David, Devin in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, fantastic run. I know we saw for the first half of the race, we saw you working with your Merle Racing teammates, working with Gannon Cyphers and Jonathan Zog, and you were able to get close to the front, but you couldn't really get up to the lead, and then we saw that green-white checkered come out, and you were in that perfect spot in that third-place position. You had your brother coming up behind you, and you two jumped out to the outside there, and at first you didn't have a good run, tucked back in line, built up another draft, and jumped back out to the outside again, got a good enough run, and you're able to get out to the lead, get ahead of Hartney, and grab the dual number 2 win. So kind of walk us through what was going through your head, though. There was that last green-white checkered as you were working with your brother and chasing the win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know on the restart, the plan was to just push. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the 54 Belk as hard as I could, so Hartney couldn't jump down. Once I failed on that, it was just all about trying to get somebody behind me to work with me, and I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought it was just going to be us 3 cars up. Didn't seem like they could get anything going behind us, and got lucky. The 13 got right to my bumper, and we just made it happen.
Hey, Brett, it's Devin. Congratulations, buddy. If you recall, I have a little deja vu here, season 3. You know, we swept him in season 3. You're able to do it again in another photo finish, just like season 3. What are your thoughts on this next gen? I feel like everyone's, consensus that everyone learned a lot here, because from the looks of it, middle of 3 and 4, you're dead in the water, and then coming out of 4, Junior hooks up and you just fly by. I mean, what are you expecting with these runs in these cars on Wednesday?
Yeah, first off, before the race started, I told Gannon, I said, it was Devin in the first heat race last year that won, and I took it in the second one. I'm hoping for some deja vu, and it's exactly what happened. So that was neat. It's always nice to be going back into season 4 now as the points leader, just with you side by side like last year. So that's awesome. And then as far as these cars, I've got a couple races under my belt with them now, and they're definitely they don't suit my driving style. They're very tight car. It's hard to get them to the bottom of the track when you're talking short tracks and mile and a half. This is my first super speedway with them, and they're interesting. I feel like a 2-car pack can be better than a 5-car pack, but if you got 5 guys that know what they're doing, you're not going to catch them. So it's just the runs are huge, and it just really depends on who you're working with. You can't have a slouch with you that's barely on your bumper. You got to be locked up. You got to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, that paint scheme that you got on that thing is pretty beautiful. What do you buying your brother for the win tonight?
Yeah, see, I used that paint scheme this week, just hoping that he was going to be in my duel, hoping it would help push me to a win, because I know he just has I don't even know the word. He loves Denny Hamlin so much. I think he loves him more than me sometimes. So I just had to make sure that if he saw the Denny car,
maybe a 124th, you know what I mean, for the push to the win.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like
maybe
those dogs
so.
on the treadmill where they have the stick with the treat hanging in front of their face, and they just keep running right after it. That's what Junior was seeing on that white flag.
That's exactly what I was going for too when I picked the Denny Hamlin car. So it just couldn't have worked any better.
Come to the Atlee Weiss diecast store. Pick up a Denny Hamlin scheme for your brother. That was some great work working with each other there. So again, congrats on the dual win, and hoping we can see another good run for you next week for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Congrats, man.
We got Joe Wright in the waiting room. Heartbreak for him. He had a fast next gen all race long. Interested to hear his thoughts after a tough finish. Joe, this is Atlee, Dave, and Devin in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, yeah, man. What's up?
Doing pretty good in the broadcast booth. Tough break there to finish out the duel number 2 for you. I know you and Junior, you were working with each other really well all race long. Had a great run, and then we saw he kind of fell back there, and then we saw caution came in, topped off on fuel. You had a great run on the outside, working your way up to the field, and then all of a sudden I saw the 82 was around. So kind of walk us through what happened there that caused you to not finish where you maybe could have.
We were just going for broke and late blocks, people making bad moves, and probably put myself in a bad position as well. Just got caught in the left rear quarter panel there, probably driving a little too tight on a 3-wide situation. I didn't know it was 3-wide because we just should have never been in that situation, but it is what it is. Congrats to Brett on the win. But how about that Wright brother front row for next week?
Absolutely, with that qualifying, again, Wright brother front row. Both y'all are locked in even after your finishes in the duel, so that'll be fun to watch.
Joe, one question for you. You obviously know how to get it done here. You know, you got a lot of success on these tracks, and it's good that you guys are starting on the front row because you think this is, you know, the biggest restrictor plate race we ran where track position is that important?
No, I think starting up front keeps you out of the fray early on if you want to stay out of it. Because the drivers behind us will dictate how this race goes next week. So if we're up front, we can kind of stay out of that. If it starts to get a little crazy, I typically like to drop and watch. So you got to be there at the end to win it, right, Devin? So that's the key to life there.
Yep, absolutely.
I think there's a lot that'll come into next week too. You got to get on and off pit road. There'll be green flag pit stops too. Joe, my question for you is what you think you could have done a little bit better to maybe get that Dev Light Bud Pole Award.
I don't know. Maybe carried my speed a little bit better. I went on the apron. I don't know if you did or not, but maybe that's it.
Fourth gear's the answer, bud.
Stop it.
Yeah, Neon Racing brought some rockets out of the R&D department in the off season, so
Hendrick ain't got nothing on us.
no, we got to finish better than these Hendrick cars do. We can't be just the Friday speed. We got to back it up next week.
Well,
There
rumor
you go.
has it that Neon Racing has already lost owner points and is being sent to court for illegal parts. So may the force be with y'all as you deal with that.
I said they were the right parts on eBay. We'll have to double check with that. We'll talk to the admins.
All right. Well, again, congrats on starting on the front row in a really good duel, and hopefully we can see you have a good race next week for the Daytona 500.
For sure. Hey, Atman, that first duel and the second duel, 2 different races, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It was a tale of 2 races, one single file. I mean, not a ton of action, and then that second race, I was screaming my lungs off. So that was an awesome duel number 2. You guys put on a show.
There you go.
All right, talk to you later, Joe. See ya. Good
Later.
run. Well, what a fun 2 duels we had there tonight for the Devs duels at Daytona, presented by Dev Sports Cards. You're gonna be seeing that a lot with the Dev in front of all of our races. Again, glad to have Dev Sports Cards with us. And I once again also want to thank Blue Ridge Auto Group, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for partnering with the SCSRA Next Gen Series as well. Definitely, if you are in the Abingdon, Virginia area, you're looking for a good Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep Ram to add to your garage, definitely check out them. Go to their dealership, call them, visit their website, and see what they have in their inventory. I'm a big Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram fan, so definitely love that they're sponsoring us this season, because I can check out their website whenever I'm putting them in the description and see the cool Dodge Challengers and Chargers they have. But and again, just thank you so much to them for partnering with us, and got to thank the Butt Cooker as well for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. Want to thank all the league admins as well for all that they've done to get this season. This is looking to be one of the best SCSRA seasons ever for this Next Gen Series. We've got and the Truck Series, really good car count. I know you, Devin, and everybody else, y'all have done a fantastic job at recruiting some new talent for this series. I think it's going to be a great year, so thank you so much to all of the league admins: Brian Nudie, David Hartney, Eddie Morris, Sylvain Seagoin, Joe Wright, Devin, and of course, the only other admin listed is whoever the heck Honey Badger 71 is. So thank you so much to all of the league admins for supporting the league, helping this league. This league would not run as smoothly as it does. Final thoughts, gentlemen. What was your take on these duels, and what are you expecting heading into next week's Daytona 500?
It's going to depend on the mindset. You know, I'm the type of guy. It's tough because I think we got all 5 neon cars in the top 10, maybe even the top 8. And I don't want to be. I would love to lead every single lap, but I don't know if that's what's going to get the trophy at the end of the race. But I think it's going to be a great race. Like you said, I think season 5 is going to be our best season yet. You touched on it, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming back for us. We love the job that you guys do. Blue Ridge Auto Group rookie Jason Stinson brought that on board. Mission 22 rookie Brian Boyd, active Army, he brought that to our attention. We'd love to have them as a partner. for our next gen series. The biggest thing is all the rookies are just so eager and happy to be here. They just not hesitate to reach out, be in the Discord, ask questions, be communicating. Like you said, car count, we got 30 in trucks. I think it's 26 next gen. I truly believe that this is going to be the best season, best on-track racing that the SCSRA has ever seen. Especially after last season, it's going to feel really good to come on here and take time out of our day, like you guys do as well, to do this on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to stress it enough. We can't do it without you guys in intensity. You guys are the best in the business. I know Eddie says it all the time. And then obviously next week, I think just more numbers, right? While we're going to have clearly the best painted cars with Morris Customs on the side, there's a lot of teams in there, and there's going to be a lot of people merging up in different runs. It'll be a lot, maybe more rambunctious than it was quiet in the first duel, so maybe a mix of both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely excited to see what that'll bring. We got Brian Boyd. He said, great job, the broadcast. Thank you so much, Brian, for tuning in tonight and, of course, helping bring Mission 22 to partner with the SCSRA series. Thank you so much for your service, and glad to have you as a rookie this season for the SCSRA Next Gen and Truck Series. It's going to be a fun season with all of our rookies. I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in to watch tonight. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Intensity Broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, as that we greatly appreciate. We're trying to reach our goals of 2,500 followers on Facebook, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and 1,000 followers on Twitch. Check out our Twitter, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and interacting with our viewers on there. And make sure to visit our web store, intensitybroadcasting.com. There you can find merchandise from your favorite drivers, your favorite leagues, and your favorite your favorite broadcast, your favorite drivers, your favorite leagues, and so much more. We got all of our Intensity Broadcasting merchandise on there, a bunch of cool Atlee Weiss racing merchandise, a bunch of auto racing novelty items. We got our driver collections, our lifestyle collections, our team collection, and of course the league collections. Especially make sure to check out the SCSRA section of the league collections and pick up a SCSRA shirt. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they look awesome. They come in 5 snazzy colors, sizes small to 5XL. If you like the SCSRA, then it's definitely the shirt to go pick up. My name is Atlee Weiss on behalf of the entire Intensity Broadcasting team. Oh, and again, make sure to turn on your notification bell. Tune in next week on Wednesday for the Daytona 500 season opener for this Next Gen series. Dev Sports Cards Next Gen series. Going to be a lot of fun. Like they said, big field, big competitive field. It's going to be great white knuckle super speedway racing. I'm Atlee Weiss on behalf of the entire Intensity Broadcasting team. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Over and out.